Third floor, third floor.
Past 6 years, you have been researching the life of Granville T. Woods. What triggered this research?
Well, it all began for me in 1991 when I joined the TW Black History Committee. TW stands for the Transport Workers Union. And I joined the committee in 1991. And from the moment I joined, I found a purpose in my life. I found direction, and I was motivated to do something for someone else rather than myself. And every year for the TW Black History Committee, I would write something on my black history, on my heritage, and also help put the program together. And it really began right there in 1991.
Okay, besides the fact that you work for the Metropolitan Transportation Authority in New York City, do you believe that you were spiritually drawn to Granville T. Woods?
Well, I feel like I'm spiritually to all my brothers and sisters, African American heritage. Of course, they're part of me. They're part of my roots. People ask me, am I related to Granville T. Woods? I feel like he is related. I am related to him. Almost like a blood relative. He could be related to me through blood, even though I have not found any linkage yet.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel very much connected to Granville T. Woods and all my people. You know, we've been kind of like left out on many occasions. We've been left out, disregarded, disrespected, and that must change. That must change, and I'm trying to change that.
Mm-hmm. What was like the most fascinating accomplishment that during your research that you found that Granville T. Woods achieved, in your opinion?
When you look at Granville T. Woods, it's hard to put your finger on one thing because he was truly a man. He was mechanically inclined at a very young age, at the age of 10. That's where he laid his foundation, in a railroad shop. So right there at the age of 10, that was truly amazing for a young boy to work in a railroad shop and learn about how to repair, fix trains with these grown men. So, I mean, he learned a lot. Yeah. A lot of times you got to go back to a person's youth to find out why they are the way they are. And that's what I try to look at. I look at Granville T. Woods as when he was a young boy, and I'm fascinated. He was very fascinated by the railroad trains, and they became inseparable all of his life. So from the moment Granville T. Woods seeing his first railroad train, I would believe at a very young age, the beginning, that would be the genesis of the story right there in itself.
Okay. If Granville T. Woods was alive today, what would you ask him?
That's a good question. What would I ask Granville T. Woods? I would ask him, what was his brother like? He had a brother named William Laertes, and he was 5 years younger than Granville, and he seemed to get left out of the picture. And as I do my research, I can't seem to find anything on his brother. So I would ask Granville T. Woods what was your brother like? Was he seemed like he was with you most of your life, and did y'all hang out and party together? Just little things like that, you know. When things was tough, he seemed like he stuck by you, and I would just ask him how he felt when his brother was working alongside of him and was there with him. I would like to know a little bit more about his brother.
Okay, so you like to know more of his family.
Yeah, particularly his brother, because society as a whole always say that African Americans can't work with each other, and even many blacks say that. So Granville T. Woods proved that it's not true, and I want to bring that.
I read the article in the New York Times. You were quoted as saying Granville T. Woods was a genius. Now, Dr. Rayvon Fouché, in his book, he's a biographer of Granville T. Woods, said that Granville T. Woods was a marginalized inventor. Do you believe there is some merit to what Rayvon Fouché suggested?
Well, when I did my research on Granville T. Woods, while I was doing it, I talked to Professor Fouché, and I asked him, did he have any, I commended him for the scholarly job that he did on the litigation with the American Engineering Company, James S. Zerby. He did a scholarly job, and I wanted to commend him on that. But his overview outlook of Granville T. Woods, I totally disagree of his perception of Granville T. Woods when you consider Granville T. Woods marginal or average. I totally disagree with that, and I didn't really say that to him at that time, but I was basically looking for some information from him, dealing with some pictures of some characters that played a part in his life, and he said they were bit plays, and I wouldn't be able to find any pictures on those men. So that was to the extent I spoke to him, and it really wasn't much material that he gave me on Mr. Woods. But his work is very scholarly, but I totally disagree with his perception of Mr. Woods. Yes.
Okay. So do you agree or believe Granville T. Woods should be acknowledged as one of the African Americans throughout history that made a difference, such as Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Madam C.J. Walker, George Washington Carver?
Yes, and to take it a step further, when you speak about people like Thomas Edison, Robert Fulton, who made the steam engine, the Wright brothers with flying, Alexander Graham Bell with the telephone, he Woods fit in with those gentlemen. He was also an inventor that whose inventions were pivotal to modern day society as a whole, as we see it today. He made people's lives much better, and he made America much better through his invention. And for him to be left out is not an accurate perception of America if you leave Granville T. Woods out, because he played a prominent part in communication as well as transportation here in America. So don't put Granville T. Woods just as an inventor, a black inventor, and take him out for Black History Month. When you speak about communication throughout the year, transportation we use throughout the year, you must mention Granville T. Woods. Must.
Okay, you're in the process of establishing the David L. Head Foundation. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, the David L. Head Foundation is basically a foundation based upon education and history about African Americans in particular. When I began this research on the life and legacy of Granville T. Woods, I began all alone. But as I moved forward, I was assisted by many individuals who shared my vision and dreams. And that led me to begin the David L. Foundation. And there's certainly a need to tell the story of African Americans there are many, many stories left out of the American landscape that African Americans have played a part in it. And through the David L. Head Foundation, I hope to tell those stories. The Granville T. Woods project is basically my flagship project. And I'm hoping to generate money through this project to tell stories of those men and women lives to be told, the unsung heroes.
Now, you say you're also writing a book?
Well, I first began this research in 1996 when I seen a documentary on transportation. I was watching a documentary. It was about an hour and a half long. And when it went off, there was no mention of the African American contribution. And that's where I began doing research, particularly on this project. I researched this material I put together this research material called The African Presence in Transportation. I wrote this research material for the TW Black History Committee. I have been writing every year since 1991. So in 1996, when I seen the program, I began this research. And this is where I came across many pioneers that contribute toward transportation in America, and even before America ever existed. In there, I ran across Granville T. Woods. And that's where I learned about Mr. Woods by doing research about transportation.
What are the other projects that you're doing besides the Granville T. Woods, besides the book? Or do you have something that else is related to Granville T. Woods that you would like to discuss?
Well, the projects of Granville T. Woods is still a work in progress. I began this project in 1996 when I put the African Presence in Transportation together and ran across Granville T. Woods. My mission became to have Granville T. Woods recognized and acknowledged for a significant contribution toward the subway system. With this book, this is the book that I presented to the MTA, and through this book, I made it all possible. But now that he's been acknowledged, there's still a lot of work to be done. My exhibit that's behind me is not in the Transit Museum. I would also like to get out some commemorative items out to the public. I put together a t-shirt for Granville T. Woods. This is the third rail patent, and the patent that the American Engineering Company tried to steal from him in Coney Island. So it's like a collage of both of them. On the back of the t-shirt it says, "Father of modern transportation." Once the MTA top officials acknowledged Granville T. Woods' contribution to the subway system, he is now the father of modern rail transportation. He electrified New York City's subway system in 1904. And then he electrified Grand Central Terminal, Pennsylvania Terminal, Metro North. The third rail is still being used today, along with the safety apparatus, the dead man's handle. The induction telegraph system, which is a system that the MTA used. It was the prototype of the system they used today with the dispatcher communicating with the locomotive engineer. Granville T. Woods invented the first wireless communication system in America on the railroad. So that system is still being utilized today. I want this book to be in every railroad museum in the country, and transit museum in the country. I'm also working on a locomotive engineer's cap. So when children will go into these places about transportation, know how great this man is. Right now, there's nothing on this genius, and he was truly a courageous pioneer that his story needs to be told now. I made a plaque commemorating Granville T. Woods. Now, the professor, Rayvon Fossey, he said that Granville T. Woods was a marginal inventor. This man was a genius, an American genius. Yeah, he was a black American genius, and that he invented more than just upon this. His first electrical patent was a telephone transmitter, and right beneath that is an apparatus transmitting messages by electricity. That patent was bought by the Bell Company. Then there was the induction telegraph system, which is a little bit below that, he filed a patent for that in 1885, and he ran into problems with Luther Phelps. And Thomas Edison was also trying to put a device on the market to prevent railroad accidents. Granville T. Woods won that interference case between those two gentlemen, and he was the first one to get his on the market. Edison would get his on the market about a year or two later. So Granville T. Woods was a communication pioneer first.
Well, Mr. Head, you seem very passionate about this project. My last question is, I mean, you've been doing research for 6 years. How do you keep going? What drives you?
Well, I believe today all African Americans are the living dreams of our deprived ancestors. The opportunities and the privileges that we have today, they didn't have that. So with the opportunity comes a greater responsibility. And we, as African Americans today, we must take on that responsibility to tell their stories and to take it to the next step. Take it a little bit higher, to get our story out, to let the world know how great we are as a people, to let the children know what they can do. And this is very vital for us to do, and we must take on that responsibility. And I hope that other individuals that are gifted and have creative ability will also, tap into that, whether it's be through song, through dance, through poetry, to tell those stories, because those stories haven't been told about our people yet, and they must be told.
Third floor.